after the first, it was all talk about the refs. That was it. It wasn't talk about how the Ducks played, how they came out with energy, how they kind of shot themselves in the foot with both of these goals by the Sharks. It was all talk about Montour not getting Montour getting the kind of ghost penalty as it was being called, and then obviously the Kasha tripping penalty not being called. That was what dominated the headlines, which is unfortunate because it kind of masks any issues the Ducks had in the first period.
Yeah, look, according to Natural Stat Trick, chances were even. Shots were the Ducks had one more shot than the Sharks, 7-6, right? A 5-on-5 chances, and that's where they're playing the majority of the game. So you get rid of that power play goal and that soft call, it's a 1-1 game. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, that was the best the Ducks had to throw out there, and they gave themselves an opportunity, but came up short. Going into the second period, though, just an unfortunate play. The Sharks are able to get on the board early. Hurdle ends up dangling, puts the puck on a backhand while being checked. And I almost felt like Gibby was soft on this play, but at the same time, I mean, Hurdle with a hell of a shot, and he ends up making a 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great individual effort from Hurdle to get in and actually make that play, because he ends up beating, I think, 2 or 3 Ducks players to get in alone. He victimizes Montour, who sort of does his best a bit after getting beat to try and get back and stop Hurdle from scoring. And then I guess he just fools Gibson on this play because he throws it back against the grain, which is difficult because Gibson is reading the play as if Montour is going to push him to the side, which, fair enough. I mean, it's a little bit... You can put this a little bit on Gibson's shoulders, but again, it's such a tough call to make because I feel like you don't expect Hurdle's going to be able to throw that back to the other side because it's such a soft shot. I mean, he just floats it back to the left side of the net, and Gibson had no chance on that one, and it's disappointing because it was so early on in the third period, or in the second period. You're hoping that the Ducks could come off down 2-1 and rebound, and this is just, this was just a dagger at that point. You're saying, all right, now you're down 3-1. Things aren't looking good. The Sharks have some energy going in early in the second period.
And that was one of the comments I wrote on our notes here in the second period is, where's the Ducks' big guns? I feel like they're not getting the grade A opportunities we're used to seeing. I mean, other than Perry's off the post, you don't really see the line rushes coming in and them getting just a great chance in on Jones. Jones has had to be good at times, but I felt like he hasn't had to be insanely good in this series so far. Is that the same vibe you're getting? I especially felt that way. I mean, obviously the Ducks would turn things around a bit here, but just so far that at this point, it's like, where's our top guys able to put the shots on net and bury some chances?
Yeah, and that's all true. And one thing that I don't know if it's just the Sharks playing well or the Ducks playing bad, but one thing I noticed was the Sharks had an easy time setting up in the Ducks zone. There wasn't a lot of pressure. I mean, the Ducks were just sitting back and allowing San Jose to set up 5-on-5 in the offensive zone. There was no pressure in the puck. Any attempt to clear it, there was never a real hustle to get it out of the zone. Bieksa was at fault for that multiple times, where he just kind of threw it to wherever softly and didn't really pay attention to where it was going to. And I think that's something that we haven't seen from the Ducks. I mean, usually they're pretty good in getting the puck out, and a lot of that's on Cam Fowler because he's one of the best, if not the best, defenseman of the Ducks for exiting the zone. So they're missing him a bit there for that. But that's something I think they need to look at as well, because they didn't get a lot of sustained zone pressure themselves. And then when San Jose came back and attempted the other way, they were really lackadaisical and they just let them set up more often than they should.
And the Sharks tend to get a lot of chances from the high slot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I felt like too. You throwing a stat to me in Twitter, and it was just so true. You could see that by watching the game. The Sharks end up getting a lot of chances from the slot, which is a prime scoring area. The Ducks like to do the pass. They like to go wide and cut back and throw to the point. And I feel like by the time they cut back and throw to the point to the fourth guy coming in on the rush, there's like already 5 guys in the slot, all lining up. Everyone's trying to block shots. Ducks are trying to screen the goalie, and it just doesn't get through, or Jones is able to see it somehow and make the save. But more often than not, it's just not getting through to the net. I wonder if maybe there's an offensive change up they're going to have to try to throw in here to make things happen, because doing the same thing over and over again and not getting results is the definition of insanity. And I feel like the Ducks just getting so many shots blocked, they got to find a way to break through the Sharks defense.
Yeah, and there's something. I mean, a lot of things have to change and get tweaked before Game 3. This was by far a better game than Game 1, and there's a lot of things that went right for Anaheim in this game. But even looking at the goal by Lindholm here on the power play, I mean, it was a great pass, and he was wide open in the slot, but I feel like this goes in because I believe it's Brendan Dillon ends up running into Martin Jones. And he can't make the save. He can't make the save, and it's not to say that he would have made the save anyway if he was able to be in position for that, but you never know. And so far, both Ducks goals have been suspect. I mean, the first one, Martin Jones was caught sleeping, and it wasn't really, you can't credit the Ducks with good play on that first goal. And even on this one, I mean, the power play was sloppy up until this point, and it's almost a lucky break from Dillon running into Martin Jones for that to hit the back of the net. So.
Although Lindy did put it in the top corner. Yes, that was a pretty shot. So
I mean,
maybe
it still
Jones
could have gone in. Yeah, it still could have gone in, but it doesn't look great that the power play was awful up until that point, and then Martin Jones is just laying on the ice by the time the puck goes into the net, right? So the offense needs to get something going because they had their chances, but the good chances they either missed the net, and one that we'll get to later is Montour on the 2-on-1 misses the net, or the one right after this where Perry hits the post. So they haven't been able to cash in on their high-quality opportunities.
No, you're right. So basically what you're saying is these goals are kind of fluky. I mean, fluky things happened, and they were able to cash in on, which is strange, considering they can't cash in on plays where Montour is able to set up Perry on a pretty move, and Perry hits the post. Or like you said, they're not getting in on their prime chances. They got some fluky shots. The rest of this period would kind of play out where Gibby had to make a couple of great stops on Tomas Hertl and Joe Pavelski, 2-on-1-esque, and then Pavelski's again from the high slot. Nice one-timer from the high slot. Gibby able to make the save there. They close out the second period 3-2 Sharks. Better feelings. I felt good going into the third period at this point. I was like, look, all you got to do is stay out of the box, keep up some pressure, and don't make Gibby have to stand on his head, and then you have a chance. I mean, it never concerns me when there's like 10 minutes left, even 5 minutes left. I start to get a little worried the Ducks won't tie it up because that's a lot of time when you're trying to get one goal and you could pull your goaltender and create havoc in the offensive zone. Yeah. So I felt good going into this, but I mean, the way this third period would kind of shake out, Kane gets some chances in on Gibby early. Gibby stays strong to start the third period. Montour with just an awful turnover, and he was all over the ice tonight, Montour. Gives it up to Eric Fair. Fair puts it in on Gibby. Gibby makes the save. How did you feel about Montour tonight? I felt like there was a lot of good and a lot of bad. Just to talk about him for a second. Like he was involved everywhere on the ice, but it wasn't always great.
There was no in-between. It was either he did something really good or he did something really bad, it seemed like. I mean, he was involved in the 2-on-1, which is a little mix of both, where he did good to pinch up and get involved in that, but then he ends up missing the net. And then, like you had just said, this was just one of the worst turnovers I've seen for the Ducks all season, other than the Bieksa Dylan Larkin.
Oh, you had to say it.
Game. But this was bad. I mean, luckily it was Eric Fair that ends up picking up the puck. I mean, if that's Pavelski, Evander Kane, Logan Couture, that could be in the back of the net. And it got pretty close anyway. I mean, Gibson, in the final seconds or final minutes of the second period and early on in the third, 6-7 straight highlight reel saves that he has to make to keep the Ducks in this game. I mean, it's unbelievable because even right after this one, you've got Gibson robbing Tierney on the best save of the series. I mean, he throws a stick on the ice and gets over with his blocker and makes an unbelievable save. He's showing that he can stay on his head and back this team to a win, but the offense isn't supporting him. And Montour is kind of at the forefront of that because he's doing some good things, but then he's at the bad end, and usually when he's on the bad end of some things, it's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't get a lot of chances in this third period for the Ducks. They had a great power play opportunity where they just couldn't cash in front of the net. I felt like they got a lot of puck movement there, and this was right after Tierney was robbed by Gibson, as you said, where Gibby had to stand on his head and make some great saves. And here's the dumb penalty number one. Sorensen flying off to the neutral zone. Nick Ritchie sticks his stick out. How much more obvious can you make it? Like, I know what he's doing, but how much more obvious can you make that happen?
It's a trip,
Tierney
but it's a
flew
bit
like
of
15 feet.
Yeah, it's a trip, but it's a bit of like he just flew off the ice. I mean, he was flying a bit he bounced it off the boards to get by Ritchie, but I mean, he sells it a bit, but it is a call. I'm not saying it's a bad call or anything like that. You're going to call that 100% of the time, and he made sure that he sold that to get that called.
Of course, yeah. He let all his feet come up like Superman down the neutral zone for sure. But, I mean, so the Ducks end up taking the penalty there. And then Montour, as we just talked about with Henrique, elects to shoot the puck, which was great. If you hit the net, goes wide, comes back out. Just not the way we wanted to see things going. And then we get the worst penalty of the night with about 3 and change to go. Corey Perry would just absolutely blow up Melker Karlsson along the boards. And he gets a 2-minute interference call. I mean, Karlsson did not expect this hit. He's facing the boards, doesn't have the puck to my knowledge. I didn't see the puck touch him. Mm-hmm. His helmet went like 15 feet into the corner with how hard he got hit by Corey Perry on this play.
Yeah, it's a weird play because when I first saw it, I was like, he's getting a suspension. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, and everybody had thought it was a headshot because of how far that helmet flew right into the corner. I mean, I thought it was a headshot at first. When you look at it again, he doesn't really hit him from behind. He hits him in the shoulder, doesn't hit him in the head. I think the head snap almost from hitting him in the shoulder and just being unsuccessful.
Oh, he was totally unprepared.
Yeah, is what throws the helmet off, and the helmet flying off is what makes it look so bad. I mean, the hit is big, but the helmet flying off makes it look that much worse. He wasn't really touching the puck. He had a stick in there, so he was involved in the play. It's still interference. It is still interference because he doesn't have control of the puck, but he is involved in the play. It's not a headshot. It's slightly dirty because you don't need to make that play. You don't need to hit him. You can just go in and join the scrum on the boards, and the Ducks were playing on the line all game, and they crossed it here. And I don't think Perry's going to get any discipline from this, any suspension or whatnot. People are saying he might, but you look at this play. No, he's good. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it would be really harsh to give him a 1-game suspension, I believe, based off that hit, because it was slightly dirty, but we see hits like that all the time. But again, I mean, the Doughty hit in the game against LA, it was kind of similar in a way, not like in the style of hit, but how it was kind of borderline, and I feel like they could lean towards that and all the suspension we've already seen so far in the playoffs. If he gets 1 game, I'd be surprised, but it's possible.
I don't know. I mean, McNabb totally elbowed and decked Kopitar last game, and they didn't call anything there. There's no supplemental discipline. So they're letting a lot go, but they are calling things. This wasn't like a Nazem Kadri hit that he had, which was just ugly and brutal and deserved the 3 games that he got, which is crazy. I mean, getting a 3-game suspension is nearly unheard of in the playoffs if you do something egregious. But I think Perry's fine. Sorry, guys, anyone listening, I keep having to clear my throat, so if you keep hearing that, I apologize. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm getting sick like Eddie. I got to keep drinking water here, so I'm not coughing, but I apologize for that. So the Ducks end up pulling John Gibson. Perry has all day around Jones and is not able to get a prime shot on net. He kind of circles out to better his chances through coverage, and Jones is there to make the save. I feel like this is one of those things we talked about a few minutes ago where they're getting chances. And, they killed Perry's penalty. He comes out and you figure this is his chance. He's all alone on the side of the net, but unable to convert.
Yeah, and I don't want to discredit Jones because I felt like he made a couple good saves in this game, but this was the same thing in Game 1 where the Ducks were just shooting pucks right at him. I mean, they had quality chances. They either missed, hit the post, or they shot it right into him. And this was the same on this play. I mean, Perry has all day, like you said. He takes it from behind the net. He has the whole net to shoot at. And he shoots it right into Jones. And I get it's difficult, and you've got a lot of guys around you, and it's tough to pick that corner, but he's the guy we're paying to pick that corner. And he shoots it right into the chest. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that for Martin Jones, and you've got to make something with that play. And while we're on the topic of not cashing in on your chances, there's a couple times where I felt like the Ducks were overpassing in this game as well. I don't know if it was on the power play, but I remember one chance where Getzlaf gets the puck on a great pass across crease. And he doesn't one-time it. He takes it. And then he sits there for about 10 seconds, looks for a pass, and it gets blocked and cleared out of the zone.
He just held it. Yeah, he held it above the circle. I remember seeing that too. Yeah.
We've talked about this endless amount of times with Ryan Getzlaf. Is when he's in those opportunities, he has to shoot the puck. I mean, just wire it. Just why hold it and look for the perfect pass in that point? I mean, you're in prime shooting position. Jones is struggling to get over to the other side, and it's not a wide open net, but we all know Getzlaf can shoot the puck. he's got to wire those chances when he gets them. But more often than not, 90% of the time, he receives the pass and then looks to make the next pass after that. And a lot of times it gets blocked. I mean, he has the ability to find guys, but he's got to shoot the puck more when he has those chances.